Welcome all to chapel. I'm just going to start with a few brief announcements. The upcoming chapel speakers are going to be the Montreat Conference Group on Monday, February 8th, and Reverend Dr. Kong Na on Friday, February 12th. And then there's Mass this Saturday, the 6th, at 7 p.m. in the chapel. The game day open door worship is on Sunday, February 7th, and it's going to be at 5:30. So it's going to be a brief informational worship so that you can make it to watch the Super Bowl. So again, that's going to be at 5:30 in the chapel. And then the Ash Wednesday worship will be held on February 10th at 11:40 a.m. And 7 p.m. in the Wallace Memorial Chapel, which is here. Services will include reflection, scripture, prayers, music, and distribution of ashes.
I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. Sing along if you know it. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. Only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. And I can only imagine when all I will do is forever worship you. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine.
Will you guys please join me in the call to worship? You came to us, Word made flesh, to show us what it means to love. You came to us, Word made flesh, to clothe the naked and feed the hungry. Come to us now, Holy Wisdom, Holy Word. Show us, teach us, clothe us, feed us.
Will you please bow your heads in prayer with me? God, our light and salvation, one thing we ask of you, one thing we seek, to dwell in your house as long as we live, so we might behold your beauty and ask questions in your holy place. Teach us your ways, O God, in ways we can't be taught in the classroom. Lead us on a level path no matter the obstacles we encounter. Send your Spirit to illumine us and enable us to see your goodness through the word encountering us this day. Amen. When Jesus appeared to his disciples, he said to them, "Peace be with you." Jesus granted them a blessing. We are invited to move about the chapel and share the same blessing, reminding each other of the peace only Jesus can bring. So we say to one another exactly what Jesus said that day, "Peace be with you."
Gentlemen, spread yourselves out. Find windows. Michael, why don't you come in? I'm going to be right in the face here, ladies. You can pull your folders up.
Thank you all for being here. Hey, I don't know what's going on there. I'm sorry, I just muted it. So
I'm going to move it back, but I'll pull it back whenever I move.
we're good.
Let me know when. Just. Okay.
Show
Today's scripture reading is from Proverbs chapter 3, verse 27. Do not withhold good from those who deserve it when it is in your power to act. The word of the Lord.
Greetings. It's great to have you all here. It's certainly a joy to welcome our Board of Trustees this weekend. So if you're a board member, if you'll just kind of raise your hand so we can see who you are, and let's give them a hand for the good work that they do. It's always a great joy to have them on campus, and you always wonder what's happening when all these men in suits start wandering around, and women who are dressed in their wonderful work clothes, and together we come and we do worshipful work. And so I'm grateful to the board for making this part of their time together here on campus as well. Today we want to thank Dr. Barbara and the chamber singers for sharing the gift of music with us, our praise and worship team for the gift of music, and for Brendan and Sarah, who have served as our liturgists, but also for Dan Kushner, who played a little bit to get us started and will play as you depart today. So together we give thanks to all of you. It is my honor and privilege to also welcome, I think I'm allowed to do this, Kathy Richardson and her husband, Randy, who are here. Kathy comes to us as the new elected president of Westminster College, and so we welcome you all as well to our worship. It is great to have you here today. So now to our speaker. A year or so ago, Linda Jenkins started sharing with me a little bit about a ministry project that she had become a part of. And I got really interested in it, and we invited her to come to campus, and a few folks got to experience that. And I said to her when she was finished, I want you to be our board member chapel speaker next year. And so a year ago, we set this up. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Linda Jenkins, who is a 1980 Westminster College graduate and subsequently earned her MBA from Duke University. She currently serves on the Westminster College Board of Trustees. She's worked for over 20 years as a business and finance executive in the publishing and media industries in New York City. Last February, she gave her talk to our students, and we invited her to come. So today, she's going to share with us a little bit about Trades of Hope and how being part of that work has changed her life. So, Linda, we welcome you to Westminster.
Thank you. So, if you have a cat sitting in a box is probably a pretty familiar sight. They're comfortable, they're secure. Well, people get in boxes too. And by that, I mean our comfort zone. My comfort zone was living a comfortable, blessed life in New York and Florida. I was semi-retired after working over 20 years in New York, looking for my next gig and knowing I wanted to give back in some way. And my thinking was probably pretty same old, same old. I was going to volunteer in some way. God had a different idea. I want you to do direct sales. Sales? I've never done sales in my life. And oh, by the way, it's a brand new company. Okay. So 5 years ago, I joined Trades of Hope. It's a social enterprise or a missional business. It's not a charity. It's our mission to be an army of marketers to improve the lives of impoverished women artisans around the world through a dignified partnership through the power of sustainable business opportunity. And we're called compassionate entrepreneurs. We sell their ethically produced handcrafts that use fair trade guidelines, jewelry, scarves, handbags, small home decor, but we're helping our artisans get out of desperate situations like working in sweatshops, living in the slums, being involved in sex trafficking and slavery, and extreme poverty. We have products from 16 countries right now, including the USA. It was founded in 2010 in Palm Coast, Florida, by two women and their eldest teen daughters. Holly, second from the right, is an entrepreneur, speaker, pastor's wife. She attended a home party and had the inspiration that this business model could be used to help women artisans around the world. And Gretchen, second from the left, previously had founded Three Angels Orphanage and School in Haiti. The business model, as I said, it's home parties, it's also open houses, events, direct catalog, and online sales. But in addition to creating jobs for women artisans around the world, primarily women, although we do have some men, we're creating jobs here in the US as well. There's a small home team that do customer service and interact with our artisans, but also those doing what I do. And most recently, this past summer, in moving to a new distribution center, we were able to partner with the local ARC chapter there, which works with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and they're now doing our tagging and some of our product packing. So we were able to help adults here who also have difficulties finding jobs. And the founders were actually pretty smart in setting it up this way because they knew that volunteers burn out, and they wanted this to be sustainable both for the artisans that we work with as well as for the people here. So these are jobs, these are real jobs for people here in the US, for women primarily. And so, sustainability was really key in their mind. We buy inventory, the Trades of Hope buys inventory up front, which we resell, and they're sourcing product through missions, co-ops, and direct relationships. And they order inventory throughout the year so that artisans have constant flow of work, unlike some large retailers who might make one massive order at the beginning of the year and then there's no work for the rest of the year. The artisans get paid 3 to 6 times what they would earn locally, 100% of what they ask. So again, unlike some retailers who might haggle them down, they're getting what they ask. And we're very respectful of our artisans, their stories, their photos. Some are happy to have their stories told, some are not. They don't want to be the poster child for difficult situation, fill in the blank. And we take on new groups and countries as we grow. Our artisans, they all come from difficult places and circumstances, but these opportunities are allowing them to feed their families and have food, shelter, clean water, medical care, to educate their children, and especially their girls. In so many places, if there's a choice between sending a son or a daughter to school, the daughter loses out. They're able to leave a life of sexual exploitation. I dare say none of us can imagine being so poor or so desperate that we would sell ourselves to feed our child this morning. They're able to gain respect in their communities because money talks. So we're giving these women artisans around the world opportunity, voice, and hope. We target women primarily because around the world, 40% of working women make less than $2 a day. They're paid 25 cents to a man's dollar. Of the world's 1.3 million people in poverty, 70% of them are women. Girls make up the majority of the 27 million victims of human trafficking around the world, of which 80% is sexual exploitation. Today's war victims are mainly women and children. Women undergo incomprehensible treatment in so many places, like being victims of acid attacks, honor killings, genital cutting, child brides, being cut off from school. You actually may have read just in the last couple of weeks about a young girl in Afghanistan whose nose was cut off by her husband because he wanted another child bride in the family and she didn't want that. Research shows that given resources women share and they draw in at least 4 other women. They want opportunity, not charity. You actually might be somewhat familiar with fair trade around here because you actually have a store down the street. But it's a movement to help low-income workers move toward economic self-sufficiency. And there are specific guidelines that have to be followed, like paying a fair and living wage with no child labor, safe work environments, they get prepayment for orders, they get training. Many of the products are very green, upcycled and recycled raw materials. And they're using equal opportunity and respecting cultural identities. I've had the privilege on 3 different occasions to actually go visit our artisans in Haiti, in Costa Rica, and in Guatemala, to meet our artisans, to hear their stories, and really find out how this is making an impact on their lives. That box I was talking about earlier, third world travel, that was outside my box. And my husband wants you to know he's still in that box. Even before, just talk a little bit about some of these trips, even before the 2010 earthquake, Haiti was one of the world's poorest countries with more than 80% of the population living in dire poverty, and by that I mean less than $1,000 a year. The costs are actually similar to or higher than the US. The official minimum wage there is $5 a day. A gallon of milk costs $10. The tent cities were still prevalent. 15 by 15 foot cinder block room, that's a step-up home. The money after the earthquake, not well spent. The government's dysfunctional. It's really pretty tragic. Marriage, it's rare. Rape is common. It's actually a word or concept that doesn't even exist. It's just part of normal life. Women, many women still die in childbirth. There's breastfeeding, not common due to myths. They're smart. Women, they're smart. They're capable, but work is scarce. And if she has a job, she's taking care of many as 30 family members. That's just a couple of pictures from our trip there, the tent city, and just standing outside of one of the homes. One of the groups that we work with is called a Parent Project, and it was a couple that went to Haiti to adopt a child, learned the child was actually, parents were living. In fact, mother went and visited him constantly in the orphanage, but she had put him up there because she couldn't feed him. And those poverty orphans are the vast majority of Haitian orphans. So they moved, instead of adopting that child, they moved to Haiti and started teaching women how to make beads. There were 4 women in her living room. They now employ over 300 people, jewelry and ceramic makers. They have medical benefits, child care. We were able to go tour that facility, meet the artisans, try our hand at this jewelry making and bead making. They're actually known for beads and jewelry made out of recycled cereal boxes. And they were able to make maybe 400 to 1,200 beads a day and earn a living wage, which Shelley believes needs to be at least $15 a day, if you can imagine living on $15 a day. But commerce, it brings commerce, like for example, little lunch stands outside the facility because, you know, and that's the kind of just local on the ground efforts we're trying to support. But, and so this was just my day there. Verdan, my teacher that I'm sitting with, was teaching me to make a bead. I think I made 6 in a half an hour. And she went, stick to your day job. But every day, there are still more women, mamas, sitting outside that gate with their babies in the heat, begging for work, or otherwise begging somebody to take their hungry babies. And I'll just briefly touch on Costa Rica and Guatemala. We think of Costa Rica as being a beautiful resort area, and it is. It's also an area of extreme poverty, gangs, and it's the #1 sex tourism destination in the Western Hemisphere. The trip took us to Tarasio, which is a poor area north of San Jose, and also those tourist areas near Jaco and Quepos. The women, they have few options but to sell themselves. So we have a relationship with a pastor slash now our workshop owner there on the left, and he said, you've got to help us find some work for these women. So we now have 10 employed women working strictly because of the work with Trades of Hope, the artisans making jewelry. And in Guatemala, we were able to travel 2 different places. Casa Hogar is a girls' home, safe home near Jalapa, which is kind of on the drug trail through North America. They do not allow adoption out of Guatemala at this time, so girls who either are orphans or who have been sent there by the courts due to abuse, as Madre Claudia, who runs this, said, they were just treated very poorly, and there were girls as young as 12 who were fully pregnant. So they're babies all the way up to young women who would age out. The older ones are the ones who are learning business skills, English skills, making jewelry for us. And we also work with some Mayan women around Antigua, where Marta talked through the interpreter of sending 4 children to university, and even the interpreter had to stop in stunned silence because that was just so unusual for that culture. But it's because of the work that she's doing. And Clara told us of buying her first ever stove, where she had worked, always cooked over an open fire. And that's just some pictures of the girls at Casa Hogar and Marta and Rosa. in Guatemala. The founders, one of the things they also do is they tithe a portion of their profits, not because they have to, but simply because they believe it's the right thing to do. It's not a nonprofit. And they, for various just other self-improvement or opportunities for women, such as we're sending those little girls to school, organizations fighting sexual exploitation here in the US and abroad, seed money for sewing machines or piglets, or there's just been a whole host of things. This year I'm doing to give English classes to the girls at Casa Hogar, water wheels to Women India, etc. So I've learned a lot about long-term material poverty alleviation. Handouts perpetuate the gap between have and have-nots, and they promote dependency and a lack of self-respect. If I'm always taking and I can never give, I keep feeling down. And it could actually hurt local enterprise. A well-meaning shoe manufacturer, after the earthquake in Haiti here in the US, sent thousands of pairs of shoes down to Haiti. Well, what that did was the people there who were making shoes and selling them by the side of the road suddenly had no work for however long because nobody was buying shoes. Everyone had gotten them for free. Development and long-term opportunity are best accomplished from within a community where you're mobilizing existing resources on the ground. And so this is sort of reinforced the importance of our work in this chain. We're a dignified partnership with these local efforts, allowing these artisans to reach a market they otherwise couldn't reach. In 2014, we sold 89,000 product units here in the US. In 2015, that grew to over 302,000 product units. And just think of what that's doing in our artisans' lives. If you have any interest in learning a little bit more about women and the circumstances around the world, I have some resources I can suggest afterward. And if you have any interest in learning a little more about the work of Trades of Hope, I'd be happy to talk to you afterward. But going back to that box, to those of you who are students here, your time, this is the perfect opportunity to step out of your box, whether it's through new people, new experiences, new courses. Take that opportunity, step out of your box. If you've been out of school a little while or a long while, maybe you're being called to step out of your box. Every day when I think about those mamas outside that gate, I am convicted to continue to step out of my box. If not me, then who? If not now, then when?
Linda, thank you so much. I learned a while back that each of us lives in a box, and it's actually really comfortable in there. And when we figure out what our box is, then not only do we need to get out of it, we need to stay out of it. And so as college students, translate that to life at home is pretty nice and simple. And you're out of that world, perhaps it's time to stay out of that world and move off to whatever it is God has in store for you. So, friends, as we go forth, we give thanks for Linda and for her good work and the others who really feel convicted to step out of their box and to do things with their lives. But we also go forth with the challenge that is for us as well. So go forth, rejoice, give thanks to God for this day. May the Lord bless you, keep you, and make his face to shine upon you. And may the choir sing us out the door with the good words of this wonderful, wonderful. Sam, thank you.